Why perennial crops are a gardener's dream. Perennial crops are every gardener's secret to effortless abundance. Unlike annual vegetables that demand replanting every season, perennials return year after year, growing stronger, deeper-rooted, and more resilient with time. Once established, they create a living, self-sustaining system that continuously gives back. Fresh food, healthy soil, and beauty that lasts through the seasons. The true magic of perennials lies underground. Their roots don't die at the end of the season. They rest, storing energy during winter and bursting back to life each spring. This deep root network stabilizes soil, prevents erosion, and draws nutrients from layers unreachable by shallow annual plants. The result is richer soil and less need for constant tilling, watering, or fertilizing. Nature doing the heavy lifting for you. Beyond practicality, perennials foster biodiversity. They attract pollinators, provide habitats for beneficial insects, and create a balanced ecosystem where pests are naturally kept in check. A garden filled with raspberries, asparagus, rhubarb, and herbs like chives or sorrel hums with life. Bees buzzing, butterflies landing, and new shoots emerging after every rainfall. For gardeners who value time and sustainability, perennials are a long-term investment. Plant them once, nurture them in the first year, and they'll reward you for decades. Imagine stepping outside each spring to find food already waiting for you. Crisp greens, tender spears, and berries ripening in the sun. It's a rhythm of renewal that connects you to the cycles of nature, reminding us that a garden isn't just a place to grow food, but a living partnership between people and the earth. Perennial crops embody the gardener's dream. Less work, more harvest, and a deeper harmony with nature's enduring design. The 9 perennial crops you can plant once. If there's one secret every sustainable gardener eventually discovers, it's this: the best harvests come from plants that never stop giving. Perennial crops are the backbone of a self-sufficient garden. You plant them once, care for them during the first year, and then let them reward you for decades. They save time, reduce costs, and create a living ecosystem that regenerates itself season after season. Here are 9 of the best perennial crops you can plant once and harvest forever, each with its own flavor, character, and rhythm in the garden. 1. Asparagus. The long-lived spring treasure. Asparagus is one of the most beloved perennial vegetables, a true garden investment that pays off for decades. Once you plant it, asparagus crowns develop deep root systems that survive winter and produce tender, flavorful spears every spring. The key is patience. Asparagus takes 2 to 3 years to establish before full harvesting, but once mature, a single bed can produce for up to 25 years or more. Plant crowns about 6 to 8 inches deep in loose, nutrient-rich soil with excellent drainage. Each spring, top dress with compost and mulch to retain moisture. When those emerald spears start pushing through the soil after a long winter, you'll know why gardeners call it the taste of spring. 2. Rhubarb. The tart gem of early summer. Rhubarb is a striking, easy-care perennial known for its tart, ruby-red stalks and enormous leaves. It thrives in cooler climates and returns faithfully every spring, growing larger each year. The edible stalks are perfect for pies, jams, and sauces. But remember, the leaves are toxic and should never be eaten. Rhubarb prefers full sun and moist, well-drained soil enriched with compost. Give each plant plenty of space. Mature clumps can spread wide over time. Once established, Rhubarb can live for 10 to 20 years with minimal care. Its bold architectural leaves also make it a beautiful ornamental plant in edible landscapes. 3. Jerusalem artichoke, sunchoke, the underground powerhouse. The Jerusalem artichoke, or sunchoke, is a hardy North American native that produces clusters of knobby tubers similar to potatoes. Above ground, it looks like a sunflower, tall stems topped with bright yellow blooms. Below the surface, it hides edible tubers that return year after year. Sunchokes are wonderfully low maintenance but can spread aggressively, so it's wise to dedicate a specific area or container for them. Plant tubers about 4 to 6 inches deep in spring, and by fall, you'll have a generous harvest of crisp, nutty roots. Even if you miss a few during harvest, they'll resprout the next season, ensuring a steady supply with zero effort. 4. Egyptian walking onions, the plant that moves itself. This fascinating onion variety truly lives up to its name. Egyptian walking onions grow small clusters of bulbs, or tops, at the end of their stalks. When those tops become heavy, the stem bends down to the soil, where the bulbs take root, literally walking their way across your garden. They're perfect for those who love green onions year-round. You can harvest the greens like scallions, dig up the underground bulbs, or simply let them spread naturally. Plant them in well-drained soil in full sun, and they'll handle cold, heat, and neglect with remarkable resilience. 5. Garlic chives, a perennial herb for all seasons. Garlic chives combine the mild taste of garlic with the versatility of chives, offering a subtle, savory flavor perfect for soups, stir-fries, and salads. They're one of the easiest perennials to grow, thriving in both garden beds and containers. They produce flat, grassy leaves and beautiful white flowers that attract bees and other pollinators. Cut them regularly to encourage new growth, and divide the clumps every few years to keep them vigorous.
Garlic chives tolerate frost, heat, and partial shade. A reliable herb that quietly enhances your kitchen and your garden's biodiversity. 6. Sorrel, the lemon-flavored green you'll love. Sorrel is an underrated perennial leafy green with a bright, lemony flavor that adds zest to soups, sauces, and salads. It's one of the first plants to emerge in spring and one of the last to fade in fall, making it a reliable source of early fresh greens. Sorrel thrives in rich, moist soil and partial sunlight. Regular harvesting encourages tender new leaves and prevents it from becoming too bitter. Because it's hardy and self-seeding, a small patch can keep your kitchen stocked for years. Sorrel's tangy taste and fast regrowth make it a gardener's favorite secret ingredient. 7. Raspberries, sweet berries that keep coming back. Raspberries are among the most rewarding perennial fruits you can grow. Once planted, they send up new canes each year, and with proper pruning, they'll produce abundant crops for decades. There are 2 main types: summer-bearing, 1 big crop per year, and ever-bearing, 2 smaller harvests. Raspberries prefer slightly acidic, well-drained soil and full sun. Prune old canes after fruiting and keep the patch thinned for airflow. Within a couple of years, you'll have a dense thicket of canes producing juicy, sun-warmed berries every summer. Their resilience and productivity make them a staple in any home orchard or backyard food forest. 8. Blueberries, a long-lived source of antioxidants. Blueberries are not just delicious. They're also packed with nutrients and antioxidants. With proper care, A single blueberry bush can produce fruit for over 25 years. The key is the right soil. Acidic, pH 4.5 to 5.5, loose and rich in organic matter. Plant at least 2 varieties for cross-pollination and better yields. Blueberries thrive in full sun but appreciate mulch to keep roots cool and moist. In late spring, they bloom with delicate white flowers, followed by deep blue berries that attract birds and eager gardeners. Their glossy green leaves turn fiery red in autumn, adding beauty to every season. 9. Horseradish, the fiery root that never quits. Horseradish is the definition of low maintenance. Once planted, it's almost impossible to get rid of, which is great news if you love its sharp, spicy flavor. This hardy root crop grows vigorously and comes back year after year, even in poor soils. Plant small root sections in early spring in a corner of your garden where they can spread freely. Each fall, dig up some roots for use and replant a few pieces for the next year's crop. Freshly grated horseradish adds punch to sauces and meats, and its tough nature means you'll never run out. Just remember, containment is key. It can easily take over if left unchecked. Final thoughts. These 9 perennial crops offer a path toward effortless abundance. Each one adds a layer of stability and beauty to your garden, creating a space that thrives naturally. From the crisp spears of asparagus to the bright tartness of rhubarb and the sweet tang of raspberries, perennials turn gardening from a seasonal chore into a sustainable lifestyle. By planting them once, you're not just saving time, you're building a living system that renews itself year after year. These plants are nature's promise of continuity, a reminder that when we work with the rhythms of the earth, the rewards can last a lifetime. Organic care and fertilization. When it comes to perennial crops, success depends less on constant feeding and more on nurturing the living soil that sustains them. Unlike annual vegetables that rely on quick boosts of nutrients each season, perennials thrive through balance, deep roots, microbial activity, and a natural cycle of decay and renewal. The goal isn't to feed the plants directly, but to build soil health so they can feed themselves. Healthy soil is alive. It contains millions of microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, and earthworms that transform organic matter into plant-available nutrients. Every time you add compost or mulch, you're feeding this invisible ecosystem. Over time, these organisms form a network that supports plant roots, improves water retention, and strengthens natural disease resistance. Compost, the foundation of fertility. Compost is the heart of organic gardening. It provides a slow, steady release of nutrients and helps regulate soil structure. For perennial beds, spread 2 to 3 inches of compost around the plants every spring. It replenishes what's been used up over the winter and boosts biological activity just as the growing season begins. Well-made compost should smell earthy and crumble easily. It shouldn't be soggy or sour. You can make compost at home with kitchen scraps, dried leaves, grass clippings, and garden waste. Alternate green materials, rich in nitrogen, and brown materials, rich in carbon, keep the pile moist and turn it occasionally. Within months, you'll have black, nutrient-rich compost ready to bring your soil back to life. Natural mineral sources. While compost supplies most nutrients, certain minerals may need to be added periodically, especially for fruiting perennials like blueberries and raspberries. Wood ash provides potassium and calcium, great for root development and fruiting, but should be used sparingly and never on acid-loving plants like blueberries. Crushed eggshells or dolomitic lime add calcium to prevent disorders such as blossom end rot in long-lived perennials. Rock dust or seaweed meal replenishes trace elements that can be depleted over years of growth. These natural amendments don't just feed plants, they restore the mineral balance that supports beneficial microbes. Mulching, nature's blanket. Mulch is one of the most powerful tools in organic perennial care. A layer of straw, shredded leaves, or wood chips around the base of plants helps conserve moisture, suppress weeds, and moderate soil temperature. As the mulch decomposes, it adds organic matter, feeding soil organisms that, in turn, nourish the plants. Refresh mulch once or twice a year, keeping it a few inches away from stems or crowns to prevent rot. For berry bushes and herbs, mulching also keeps fruits and leaves clean while reducing evaporation in hot weather. Watering and root health. Perennials prefer deep, infrequent watering rather than frequent, shallow irrigation. This encourages roots to grow downward, anchoring plants and making them more drought-resistant. Installing a drip irrigation system or soaker hose ensures even moisture without overwatering. Rainwater collection barrels can provide chemical-free water that plants love. Healthy roots are the foundation of long-term productivity. Overwatering, compacted soil, or poor drainage can suffocate roots and invite disease. If your soil is heavy clay, improve aeration with compost, coarse sand, or organic matter before planting. Green manure and living mulch. Between perennial rows, consider planting cover crops or living mulch like clover or creeping thyme. These low-growing plants fix nitrogen, reduce erosion, and attract pollinators. When mowed or trimmed, their cuttings act as natural mulch. It's a self-sustaining cycle. Plants feeding plants. No synthetic fertilizer required. Avoiding chemical fertilizers. While chemical fertilizers may give a quick burst of growth, they often harm the long-term health of soil and beneficial organisms. Over time, they can lead to nutrient imbalance, salt buildup, and reduced microbial diversity. Perennials need stability, not spikes of synthetic nutrition. By choosing compost and natural amendments, you're creating a resilient ecosystem that supports healthy growth year after year. A living partnership. Organic care is more than a method. It's a philosophy of cooperation with nature. Instead of forcing results, you cultivate conditions where life flourishes on its own. Feed the soil, and the soil will feed your plants. Observe the rhythm of each season. Adjust gently, and let nature handle the rest. With time, your perennial garden becomes self-sustaining, lush, fertile, and teeming with unseen allies working beneath the surface. It's a living partnership, one that rewards patience and care with endless harvests season after season. Even though perennial crops are famously low maintenance, they're not completely foolproof. Like all living systems, they thrive when given the right balance of care, attention, and respect for their natural rhythms. Many gardeners lose productivity not because perennials are difficult, but because they overlook a few simple principles. Avoiding these common mistakes will keep your plants vigorous and productive for decades. Number 1. Overwatering or poor drainage. One of the most frequent issues is giving perennials too much water. Deep-rooted plants don't like wet feet. Constant moisture suffocates roots, encourages rot, and invites fungal diseases. Instead of daily watering, give your plants a deep soak once or twice a week, enough to moisten the root zone without flooding it. Make sure your soil drains well. If water pools after rainfall, Mix in compost or sand to improve texture. Raised beds or mounded rows can also help prevent waterlogging, especially in heavy clay soil. Number 2. Neglecting sunlight requirements. Each perennial has its comfort zone. Asparagus and raspberries love full sun, while sorrel and rhubarb prefer partial shade. Planting sun-loving crops in dim corners or shade-tolerant plants in harsh, exposed spots can drastically reduce yields. Always match the plant to its light needs. 6 or more hours of direct sunlight for most vegetables and fruiting perennials is ideal. Number 3. Forgetting to prune or divide. Perennials are long-lived, but they still need rejuvenation. Many plants, such as raspberries and chives, benefit from pruning or division to maintain vigor. Old canes or crowded roots drain energy from new growth. In spring or fall, thin out old stems, remove dead material, and divide overcrowded clumps. This not only improves airflow, but also prevents diseases and encourages stronger harvests. 4. Ignoring soil health over time. Because perennials remain in the same spot for years, soil depletion can slowly occur if you don't replenish nutrients. Many gardeners forget that even self-sustaining plants need organic matter. Add compost or well-rotted manure every spring. Mulch generously and occasionally test soil pH, especially for acid-loving crops like blueberries. Healthy soil equals healthy plants. 5. Letting weeds take over. Perennials grow back each year, but so do weeds. Neglecting early weeding allows invasive plants to compete for moisture and nutrients. Mulching is your best defense. A thick layer of straw, bark, or leaves around the base of plants suppresses weeds naturally. Regular light weeding also prevents competition before it becomes a major issue. 6. Planting without spacing or containment. Some perennials, like Jerusalem artichoke or horseradish, can quickly overrun your garden. Failing to contain them can create headaches later. Always read the growth habits before planting. Use barriers or dedicate separate beds for aggressive spreaders, leaving enough space for each plant to grow comfortably. 7. Over-fertilizing or using chemicals. It's tempting to speed up growth with strong fertilizers, but perennials respond poorly to excess nitrogen. Too much fertilizer leads to weak, sappy growth and fewer fruits. Stick to natural compost, mulch, and slow-release organic feeds. Avoid synthetic chemicals that damage soil microbes and long-term fertility. 8. Skipping seasonal maintenance. Even the hardiest perennials need seasonal attention. In spring, feed and water deeply. In summer, weed and mulch. In fall, prune and divide if needed. In winter, protect roots with mulch or straw, especially in colder zones. Treating maintenance as a rhythm rather than a chore keeps plants healthy and your workload light. A perennial garden is more than just a collection of plants. It's a living promise of renewal. When you plant perennials, you're not simply growing food. You're building a lasting relationship with the earth. Each season, they return a little stronger, their roots reaching deeper, their harvests richer. It's nature's quiet reminder that abundance doesn't have to be rushed. It can be cultivated through patience, balance, and care. Think of your garden not as a short-term project, but as a legacy. The asparagus you plant today could still be feeding someone 20 years from now. A patch of blueberries can become a family tradition, passed down through seasons and generations. These crops weave your story into the soil, one of sustainability, nourishment, and connection to the rhythms of life. By choosing perennials, you're working with nature instead of against it. You're conserving resources, reducing waste, and creating a space where pollinators, birds, and soil life can thrive alongside you. Each plant becomes a partner in the cycle, transforming sunlight, rain, and time into nourishment. So plant once, care gently, and watch the magic unfold. With every returning leaf and blossom, you'll see that true gardening isn't about control, it's about collaboration. The rewards are more than edible, they're soulful. Your perennial garden will feed your body, calm your mind, and remind you, season after season, that the most enduring things in life grow slowly, but last forever.